Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Now if you're anything like me and you are a huge Trekkie, I can only imagine that's the main reason you clicked on this video. And if you are, chances are you're currently watching the new series of Star Trek Discovery, much like me. And much to my, and I hope yours, great deal of excitement, the Promellians made a return despite the fact that their civilization is now extinct. But if you're not sure, and you're not as big a fan of older Trek, like The Next Generation, where the Promellians first appeared, then you might not know much about this race who were just sort of name-dropped and supposedly important, but are all dead. So just who are the Promellians? That is this video. Before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below whether or not you really are enjoying Star Trek Discovery and how pumped you are for Season 5. Okay, so the Promellians were a humanoid civilization. They were warp capable, and they went extinct around sometime in the 14th century on an Earth Christian calendar. How long they've been warp capable for isn't known, but they were certainly, in their day, one of the major powers of the area. Despite the limitations of their technology comparative to 24th, 25th, and certainly by 32nd century standards, it was robust and very advanced. Considering, let's use humans as the example at this time period, humans were literally still floating around the planet on bits of wood, powered by the wind, maybe by a few oars every now and again, or maybe a friendly whale we could leash. Not really. But all things considered, their technology was substantially more advanced than ours. Their civilization came to an abrupt end after a conflict with an alien civilization known as the Menthars. And although they are dismissively, I think, some described as in the 32nd century as a race that seemed to be always at war, this could be a misnomer. I mean, Klingons are often given that description, but we do know that there's more to them than that. In terms of physical appearance, they were a humanoid species with a distinctive crest running down the center of their head. They didn't appear to be particularly large or imposing like, say, a Klingon or a Hirogen, but they built impressive warships for their time period. They utilized a wide variety of technologies, some of which were fusion-based, and we can again assume that some of their weapons technology was fusion-based also as a result. We do know they also, as we learned recently, had learned to extract energy from electromagnetic fields, which in and of itself, indirectly, is an extension of such technologies. The Promellians spread themselves out across a wide region of space, either through imperial conquest or simply through generic expansionism. The war with the Menthars, it should be pointed out, actually ended in mutually assured destruction, so there's another nuclear parallel to be made there. Their starships and other aspects of their technology appear to be extremely well made and robust, still working and operational in the 32nd century, 2,000 years after it was originally created. Their civilization, warlike as it may or may not have actually been, constructed some impressive off-world facilities such as the ones we recently saw on the planet of Lyric, where we saw the defense systems were still operational. And we're going to get to those in just a moment because I have a couple of questions and speculations about those. The Promellians overall were widely respected, and civilization made enough of an impact on the galaxy that 1,000 years after their destruction, Picard had one of their ships in a bottle. They were very well known. People knew who they were. They knew their name. They were remembered. So they'd made an impact. For better or worse, perhaps. That impact may have been the destruction of whole worlds. It could also be that history is written by the victors, or in this case, maybe the survivors. So history is saying, well, the Promellians were warlike people because all we remember of them is they were at war and they blew things up and they made our lives a misery at the time. But that, again, is potentially revisionist history. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle about them. Their entire race went extinct, as I said, sometime in the 14th century, and aspects of their technology, though, did survive on. The penultimate battle of their civilization was the Battle of Aurelius 9, where one of their ships was actually encountered in the fantastic episode of The Next Generation known as Booby Trap. Let's call that the mission Booby Trap, where we actually discovered that a trap, literally, that had been created by the Menthars had captured a Promellian battlecruiser and effectively preserved it. And although, I should point out, I've done an episode on the Promellian battlecruiser before, And I speculate then, I speculate now, that the fact that Picard had one of these things in a bottle, so this either wasn't the only surviving ship, again, an indication of just how robust their technology was, or images and other things of their vessels had survived into the modern age, perhaps even blueprints or other things. It could even be that other civilizations got their hands on leftover Promellian technology through scavenging or trade or theft or whatever, and continued to use them, perhaps even into the 24th century as a modified version. That is entirely speculation. What do you think? Do you agree? But it is possible. Again, their technology is very well. So let's get to those defenses on Lyric. Now, we see when Captain Burnham and Captain Saru go to the planet that, although we later learn they're still powered by the local electromagnetic field, which is interfering with transporters, etc., the Promellians built great tombs on this world, and to prevent grave robbers, they put these defenses in that took advantage of local ambient energy. Basically, the planet's electromagnetic field was used to power the defenses. Large statues, that many of which had long crumbled, although some of them were still standing, their eyes contained weapons. In one case, the weapons seemed to be able to shoot directly out of the eyes, and the entire head seemed to be able to turn in the entire intact statue, so I'm having Clash of the Titans vibes here. But the one that was collapsed, the head was still on the ground, but it had 4 eyes. There were some skeletons that were seen that looked to me vaguely like a Promellian skeleton, but that's, again, my theory. But these things were designed to deter tomb raiders, people from raiding the tombs. These small drones leapt out of the eyes and chased after the crew and started attacking them. More drones kept seeming to be coming, so there were either more statues or the single statue kept making more of them. And that brings me to my theory about the Arsenal of Freedom, another extinct civilization who were known as great arms dealers, perhaps as far back as the time of the Promellians. And the way these weapons and these little drones seemed to work was very reminiscent of some of their technology. It was also similar to some sonar technology and, quite frankly, some Starfleet tech that we saw in the 23rd century. But that's just because the idea of a small, nimble little drone isn't exactly a uniquely human or Klingon or Promellian or whatever design or idea. But the fact these things were still operational, just like the weapons on the Arsenal of Freedom, I'm wondering if maybe that's where they came from. That's the origin of these weapons. We could be looking at a little bit of trade or arms dealing, because if you're an arms dealer, you're selling to someone. It's not just yourself. So if your entire race is built on the idea of we sell weapons to you, there's a you that's buying the weapon. In this case, probably the Promellians. The weapons were still operational, as I said, 2,000 years later. Now, it is entirely conceivable that these weapons were self-replicating or self-regenerative in some way, but no one had been maintaining them and they still worked, and that was very impressive. They were also energy-based, which does tell us for certain that the Promellians at least had access to, if not the ability to develop, but likely did have the ability to develop, energy-based weapons. They were a complicated and very impressive civilization that thrived for a very, very long time, and they're remembered as far forward as the 32nd century, by which time much more information has likely been gleaned about them. There's no indication that any of them have ever survived, and their civilization appears to be extinct, but that doesn't take away from their achievements, particularly the technological achievements, because there aren't exactly many human vessels that are 2,000 years old in the 32nd century still rocking about. I imagine there's a few older ships still bobbing about, but the Discovery doesn't count because it time jumped. That's cheating. But either way, that is the Promellians, and what we currently know about them as of the uploading of this video. Very impressive and very potentially warlike, a technologically sophisticated civilization that has long gone extinct, but built some very advanced and impressive technology. Their vessel actually is a glorious design. It's a bit sometimes generic sci-fi, and I never liked that Picard, and I'm sorry, I never liked that Picard said this when he went to the bridge and he believed that the design, he thought it might have been clumsy because it was an older ship, when in reality, just because they were older than you doesn't mean that they were stupid. That not modern bridge designs of the 24th century by Starfleet aren't just modern bridge designs that no one would have thought to lay them out like that before, but whatever. We're at the end of this video. If you did make it all the way to the end, please like, share, and subscribe. Continue enjoying Discovery, and let me know in the comment section below how excited you are for this season. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.